Hi there, my name's Dowbenko. I'm a corporate agronomist and wholesale agronomist. I've been working with ESN since roughly 1985 and more specifically in field trials since 1997. I work in market support, R&D, and development of the product. Most potatoes are grown in very sandy soils, prone to leaching of nitrate nitrogen. A lot of fertigation that goes on, again, can move the nitrate through the soil. If we can control the release of nitrogen by using ESN, coating around the urea slowly releases the nitrogen. Doesn't matter how much rainfall we get on it, it keeps the nitrogen in the ground feeding the potatoes. Typically when you're faced with nitrogen deficiency in any crop, but we're talking about potatoes in particular, is nitrogen is used in the chlorophyll molecule. It helps the plant go through photosynthetic process. So you look for a plant that's dark, deep, healthy, and green. When we're nitrogen deficient in potatoes, you tend to see smaller stunted plants. Lower leaves will be lighter green to yellow. As the nitrogen deficiency progresses, the upper part of the plant will also show a yellow sign. And from a roadside, you'll see strips or patches in the field where the plant just looks yellow. I grew up here in Manitoba, and we see kind of everything. But typically it's very humid, and more often than not we suffer from more moisture than we need. Yes, there's dry years, but generally once we get into later part of June, early July, there's lots of rainfall. And then we get saturated soil conditions. We can have nitrogen loss through denitrification, or in lighter sandy soils like we have for potato production, we can have nitrogen loss due to leaching. So ESN has a tremendous fit because it can buffer against the uncertainties of the weather. You can put the nitrogen down in the ground in the fall or in the spring and be rest assured that that nitrogen is going to be there for your crop. Biggest challenges of nitrogen management that growers face. I think as we look into the past, we see yield potential for different crops. Potatoes, canola, wheat, barley, oat have really grown over the last 2 or 3 decades. Farmers are now under continuous pressure to raise the yield, grow more food to feed the world's population. And to do this, we need to add a lot more nitrogen. And now instead of applying a small amount and growing a little bit of food, we're applying a very large amount and growing a lot of food. And that very large amount is sitting in the ground unprotected until the crop needs it. Most crops typically don't need nitrogen until 3 to 4 weeks after they're above ground. So that's a lot of time sitting in the ground that nitrogen's at risk. So if we can control the release, protect it that way, has a perfect fit to solve their nitrogen management issues. And what I see is when people actually use ESN in their farm operation, they become basically hooked on it. They're always trying to find ways to make ESN fit. And it's just a matter of that first trial with ESN, and as I said, they get convinced it's the right thing to do, they get hooked on it, and it continues to be part of their farm operation.